Price cuts keep happening, and maybe this is terrible, but I disagree very strongly, and I've got my good friend Randy Kirk here to help me discuss whether or not this is really good or not. I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Ozza.
To future what?
Future what? Yes, and before we get started, the overwhelming question that wasn't answered in the video that came out earlier explaining the change is, what does the AZA part even mean? And the answer is, I needed a short name that's memorable that wasn't already taken across all platforms. And that's the one that we came up with. Now, if we want to create a backronym out of it or some kind of meaning that wasn't there before, one viewer suggested it's the future from A to Z and back again. And I love it.
A to Z and A again. I get it.
I love it. I love it. So now, Randy, I don't know if you know, but there have been some price cuts going on from time to time. But if we go back to the history of the Model 3 itself, you remember in 2016, when they unveiled it, they said it's going to be $27,500 after the rebate if you qualify. Yes. So $35,000. Now, if I told you, let's fast forward by 7-8 years.
Yes.
And the price is still about there. There are Model 3s in inventory that are regularly about $35,000. Would you be disappointed, excited? What would you feel?
I think I would feel like that all of the confusion and concern about dropping prices is confusion. Confusion.
It's just, yeah. So let's talk about some price cuts.
Sure.
There are, did you know Tesla's California registrations have fallen for the first time since the pandemic?
For one entire month.
For one entire month. And the Model 3 sells very well in California, and we know that the line was down for part of the month for retooling. Yes. For the refreshed Highland, the Model 3 refresh, the 3 Fresh. I don't see this as a big concern. 1 month does not a trend make.
It does not.
It does not.
And I will tell you that there's another problem in California that you're a little bit aware of up in Washington, because you are the second highest percentage ownership state. But in California, pretty much everybody in my entire neighborhood has a Model Y already. So we are going to reach some kinds of limits.
It is how it works. At some point, you do run out of market. If you level off at number 1, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting one. Tesla just raised the price of the Model 3 long range. Strong supply or limited demand, or both?
Could be. Troy Teslike says it's not enough supply. Other people argue with him that his VIN numbers are not enough. I think that was Jeff Lutz who said, I don't trust your VIN numbers. So possibly there's more to the story than meets the eye. I think, you were the one who introduced me to this idea. There's a lot of sedans being sold in America. And the Model 3 has to be, at this point, the best car, the best sedan, the best maybe in all categories. And as a value proposition, it's not even close. So if we can get that word out to the customers, I think Model 3 could be a huge big seller.
The VIN number tracking is noisy and it's unreliable. He has had some quarters with some pretty wide misses. I did see a tweet where he said that he's never been off by more than 2.2%. And I don't know how that's possible. I've seen quarters where he's missed by substantially more. Maybe he's only counting production or deliveries, but not the other. I'm not sure. But that number doesn't sound right.
Okay.
But the VIN numbers can be noisy, and the big thing is Tesla knows how to manage their supply and demand. They're very good at that. Right. Sudden Tesla price cuts seen as a response to growing competition in Canada. This was a month ago. This was in January 18th. We saw another price cut yesterday or the day before on Model Ys. making them now eligible, at least in Quebec, for the the provincial rebates there. That's kind
Right.
of a big deal.
Yeah.
Is
I
this, yeah,
Yeah,
it,
I didn't see this as a competitive threat. I think they saw that potential was there to take advantage of that price or the discounting opportunity that Quebec was offering, and they grabbed it. Um, there's what is it? We made about 200,000 Model Ys last year in Austin. We have the capacity, according to the chart, to make 500,000. So you could have tremendous demand and still not be digging into that other 300,000. I'm in favor. My personal opinion is I'm in favor of doing whatever it takes to move 500,000 Model Ys this year.
I love it. And the thing with Canada is, unlike the US, which has two factories providing Model Ys, Canada has three. They also have imported some from Shanghai because the cost, it's such a streamlined operation that even with this small import tax, I think 12%, it's still worth it to bring those models in and sell them in that market. Now, this is
Well, I understand they had to bring the French speaking ones in from Shanghai also.
that makes total sense.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for that
I was trying to help.
correction.
Trying
Yes,
to.
no. Oh, Randy, you are helping. You are helping, my friend. More price cuts for Tesla's fearsome foursome. This isn't a particularly relevant article, but with a headline like that, I'm using it. And this is from October. So we've seen a history of price cuts. But the thing to remember is Tesla can afford to do price cuts. Unlike GM, where when Tesla did their big price cuts last year, GM said, we're out, man. No more bolts. We can't even sell these. We can't sell them against Tesla's old price, against the new price. We're a bit doomed. We were already upside down. We can't go any further upside down. But Tesla has improved their cost of goods sold. They've still got margin to play with. And if version 12 is the silver bullet, we could see take rates increase on FSD. Right there, you've got more money. Even at even if you increase the take rate by 10%, that's an extra $1,200 per unit. That's a big deal. I think
So to your first point, I think that people are really missing that first point. As a manufacturer, as somebody who dealt with this all the time, what you saw over the last 24 months was you saw the cost of raw materials, the cost of freight, the cost of hiring and training employees. I mean, like every cost under the sun was going up like this. And so Tesla increased their selling price because they had all these additional costs that they didn't normally have. You also had a tremendous supply shortage, and so they could get away with some of those price increases, or felt they needed to do that so they didn't have people flipping the cars when there was a short supply. So all that took place, and then all that changed. Now you didn't have a supply issue anymore in terms of, so you couldn't get away with all those high prices. At the same time, commodities were coming down. The cost of training labor was coming down because people weren't flipping jobs as often. All kinds of things were coming down. So you could maintain your margins, but you weren't necessarily going to keep 27, 28 crazy margins that nobody ever thought were sustainable over time without FSD. So, yes, it's pretty crazy that we're now down to 35, 40, $45,000 for Model 3s and Model Ys. These are great prices, but they're right back to where they were.
absolutely. Hard lesson as used electric vehicle prices crash. Tesla Model Y, Model 3, and Chevy Bolt at CarMax. Oh, no. Did you know? So, this is a big part of the story today. Brooke Crothers is terrible. I covered an article he wrote recently that was just a wet mess, and this one is no better. Let me share it with you real quick
Surely.
because I got some reverse sticker shock this weekend. My gorgeous mint condition electric vehicle is practically worthless. My 21 Bolt that I bought for 32 grand in the throes of the COVID crisis when electric cars were scarce because of the chip shortage. Was it just electric cars that were scarce?
Oh, a few other things.
a few other things. It was all cars.
Oh,
So
and
this,
and lots of other things too. Toilet paper comes to mind.
oh my gosh. So I went to CarMax and they offered me 14,000. How do you feel about that? 14,000 for a trade-in value on a Bolt.
Well, he should probably take it. I wonder
So here's the thing.
what's the trade-in value on a roll of toilet paper? That's what I want to know.
So I found this on Ask Car Sales. This is from last year. All cars had these big markups. It was in the news. It was everywhere. We talked with Bear from Bear's Workshop, who was putting together his Turo fleet at the time, and he would buy from any dealership nationwide if they had just sold it to him for MSRP, and he couldn't find anyone. And he went state to state looking. So in this case, we're looking at a hybrid. Anyway, cost was 45 grand. And I went and looked it up. That $45,000 car is now worth, the trade-in value is 21. And for this trade-in value, I did the same thing. I said 20,000 miles and I put in the exact model. So yes, he lost 60% of his value on his Bolt, but on this one, it's still 53%, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can't compare MSRP to MSRP when MSRP was not what you were able to pay at a dealership. So, yeah, 14,000. Mind you, my Bolt has been garaged without a scratch. Only 20,000 miles on the odometer. New battery installed. I didn't expect to get 20, but I didn't expect 14 either. So we're real close. We're real close. That means the dealer's going to sell it somewhere in the neighborhood of 18. Right.
Right.
Right. That sounds right. Just to test this theory of rapidly eroding sales, I decided to see what happened with my friend's Bolt EUV, bought a few weeks ago. And would you believe, it's only got a trade-in value of 23,000, which means the car dealer would sell it for 26 to 28. It drops 65% of its value instantly.
Instantly.
Instantly. What's missing from this story, though?
I don't know.
I should add, update. Brooke
Oh.
didn't think of this in the article, had to add it. The tax credit. And in California, where this story is based, there are also state and local incentives that may come into play. So that, what is it? $38,000 car. We're talking 31 with the federal credit and quite a bit lower than that. So yeah, that's what the actual value is going to be. It's not based on the intrinsic value, but more of the replacement value.
Right.
We can no longer sell used cars for more than new cars.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, that effectively shaves 7,500, but I didn't get 7,500 off.
No.
I mean, okay, that's not relevant to all the other buyers who do get 7,500 off. So now we finally get to the Tesla part. Brooke, what are you doing? Despite reports of Hertz and Sixt selling off their fleets, Tesla's not faring quite as badly as brands like the Chevy Bolt. You put it in the title. The agent I worked with at CarMax had a lot to say about Hertz dumping Teslas on the market. Well, yeah, I mean, car dealer's going to car deal. The average price of a Model 3 fell below 30,000 for a very old one. But
Wow.
30,000. I should hope it's below 30,000.
Yeah, that's good.
That's still very high.
Yeah.
A new one after the federal credit is already under 30, plus state and local. I mean, you're talking.
That's it. Yeah.
This is very dumb. And he gives examples of other ones, but yeah, the Model Y is holding its value quite well. Not relative to what you or I might have paid, but
Right.
relative to a new one.
Right.
The price spread is not that different because they actually do hold their value, Randy. Did you know this?
Yeah. Yeah. We've heard this.
Used Tesla prices fall from peak. So if we look at this chart, you'll see that at one point, a 2020 Model Y got up to 70,000. That's bonkers. It never should have gone that high. This
Yeah.
paints a pretty dishonest picture because this is the height of the crunch. And that, yeah, now it's fallen to 38,227. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
a new one is 46,
Yeah.
47,
Yeah.
and so it's only 2,000 less when you count the federal credit. And the same with the 3. These prices, Brooke, you killing me, man. Tesla Boomer Mama posted these charts. These show the new price of the cars over time. And you can see that they went down and they went up and now they're coming back down, but they're not as low as they have been, depending on the model. Model 3's gotten quite affordable, which is magical and wonderful. I don't know, man. What are we doing wrong here?
So as a marketer, what I've been waiting for, and which we basically have accomplished, is for the sticker to be the same. I mean, of course, if consumers were smart, they'd be able to figure out the lifetime value, or they'd be able to figure out what it costs them per month and subtract and all that kind of stuff. But consumers are not that smart. So if I at least have the sticker even, if I have the lease amount even, if I have the monthly payment on a 6-year contract even, if I can do those things and I'm straight across from what looks like an equivalent car, which has the equivalent luxury, the equivalent sound system, the equivalent, oh yeah, oh, oh wait, there are no equivalent cars. Oh yeah, there's no ICE equivalents and there's no EV equivalents. None of them have the same sound system. Oh yeah, none of them have all the luxury addition. None of them have updates over the air that make the car better and better the longer you own it. Oh yeah, none of them have that.
If you want something comparable to Tesla's autopilot, which is included on all models for free, except the Cybertruck, it'll get there. It'll get there. It'll get there. But you have to pay a very hefty premium. And most brands, I would argue, do not have anything that is remotely as capable in terms of assisted automatic driver assistance. It is not there yet. So my question is in the comments, you guys, what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave the comments. We got to hear from you. Like, subscribe, do all the usual things. Maybe head over to old Randy's channel there, see what he's up to. He's probably made a video or something. I don't know. And for everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.